What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Austin Davis here. I got Sean Houchins with me. We are here in Tampa, Florida. First time into Tampa. It's pretty exciting. We just got done with Hurricane Helene, and it's still raining outside. But no, we wanted to come down here and film some content, and we're going to kind of talk about some stuff, a little podcast-style video for you guys. Talk about kind of why I sold my power washing company. How's it going, Sean?
It's going well. Yeah, we just experienced a hurricane down here in Tampa. Austin came down. I live here in Tampa. My company, the Social Media Pros, is based here in Tampa, and we do the six-figure pressure washing. I've helped Austin with that, and so we wanted to record a bunch of content for the six-figure pressure washing program. And we were sitting here, and I was like, I take a lot of calls, a lot of sales calls from pressure washing companies, some of which also follow Austin here. And I was telling them how, a lot of the guys I've talked to, I always have questions about, what happened with United Exterior Cleaning, his original company, his Activate. Did he sell his company? Did he merge? Like, what's going on with that? And I brought it up to Austin. I was like, man, that could be a really good topic, because I'm sure there's a lot of guys who may also want to know what happened, but more or less, how did they get their company in a position where they could have maybe do the same thing, right? So I thought it was a really good topic. Probably going to be a longer conversation style of content, but I'm sure a lot of your viewers probably want to know more about it.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is like, I'm not sure why people are jumping to conclusions.
Yeah.
But they think I've gotten comments and all kinds of messages like, Austin, you sold out, you're a sellout, you didn't make it. So,
Have you really?
If you can't beat them, why not join them, and all this stuff, all these different kinds of rhetoric.
Yeah.
And whatnot. And for some reason that people think that I've either sold my business, which is not true, or I work for somebody else. And if you know me and you follow me for the last 3 years on YouTube, I'll probably never work for somebody else. So to assume that I would do that is not true. And kind of what happened was, when I started my YouTube channel, I didn't really think that my YouTube channel would evolve to what it was. When I started my YouTube channel, it was merely just wanting to put out helpful videos, help somebody, whatnot. But I had a passion for making videos that I didn't yet discover until I started actually doing it.
Right.
Then what happened, what followed after that was just an influx of a lot of people really rallying behind me. And one thing led to the other, where I started making more videos, and I started pouring a lot of time, sacrificing social life, relationships with other people, and just making videos. Hey, I can't do that. I'm making videos. Yeah. And just turned into this thing. And then what happened was it started turning into a business. And a really lucrative one that I was passionate about. I'm passionate about my power washing business, but I'm more passionate about making videos and helping people, just like waking up to a message and saying, hey, Austin, that video that you put out last night, it really helped me. Yeah. And if you guys have been following me on YouTube for a while, you guys know that I talk about fulfillment a lot, and I think it's important to chase fulfillment in life. And when I ask myself what I truly want to do, I don't want to own a power washing business or run a power washing company until I'm dead, right? Or until I retire. I want to be in the people business. I think I get fulfillment, being surrounded by my church and helping people with the with experience that I have. I never want to tell someone how to do something. I want to tell someone what worked for me. And that's what this YouTube channel has given to me. It has allowed me the platform to do that. And then basically what happened, how I got to the whole merger or sale, right, is earlier this year. Now, let me back up. It kind of starts from whenever I first started power washing, what I did is I went on the top companies on Google. I think there's 3 or 4 companies at the time. 2 of those companies are not here today. Okay. I even forgot what those companies were called. But I called all 4 and I said, hey, look, I'm a new guy, and I was in sales. I was in the car business, so I was really easy on the phone. Yeah, I was like sales guy. I was really all about it. So hopping on the phone and talking to someone brand new was not a strange thing to me. It's like, hey, look, I'm a brand new company. Is there any kind of advice you can give for me? I'd love to take you out for coffee. If I can just pick your brain, I would kind of want to give this a shot. 3 or 4 out of those 5 companies told me to screw off or kick rocks, right? Which is to be expected. But one of those guys, who owns Activate Pressure Washing, who I'm now merged with or partnered with, said, hey, yeah, absolutely, let's get some coffee, let's talk on the phone. And he actually gave me some time. He gave me 30 to 45 minutes out of his time, and I learned a lot from him. He kind of talked to me about the business. Anyway, that conversation started there, and it kind of trickled through the last 3 or 4 years of me doing a solo deal. Me and the owner of that company would just kind of maybe 2 or 3 times a year on the phone, hey, how's business? Like, we would always kind of joke around like, hey, maybe we should end up partnering together and do this. Right. But it was always kind of a joke. You know, it's like, oh, yeah, like maybe we'll work together, maybe not. But like, I'm being pretty successful at what I'm doing, and he's successful in his own right. And then what happened, which was March of this year, it's now September, soon to be October. We had another one of our yearly conversations that we have, and just another kind of follow-up, like, hey, how's business? And then, you know, but it was interesting. The conversation kind of went like, you know, hey, Austin, like, what do you want in the future? Like, well, you know, like, I'm not sure I want to do this until the rest of time. Really what I'm looking to do is build a sellable asset, something that I can sell and do what I'm truly passionate about, which is like teaching or helping people get into the service business, helping people kind of, you know, kind of go down a life of fulfillment, a life of, you know, just building a business for yourself and doing, you know, turning your side gig into a passion, right? Something you can make money from. That's kind of what I love doing. And his thing was like, oh, well, like, I don't want to be doing this full time either till I'm dead. Like, I have a family, and you know, I have other investments, other things that I'm passionate about. I have another company I'm working on, and so like, I want this to be kind of like a 5 or 6 year deal that I want out. I was like, really? So if I want out in 4 to 5 years, and you want out in 4 to 5 years, and me and him were kind of just like, it was almost like the solution was in the middle, and him and I were just kind of revolving around it. And then like we started talking, it's like, why don't we just like do this together? Like, we already are the number 1 and number 2 guy. We flip flop between 1 and 2, depending on where you're looking. And so it just kind of, the solution got more and more apparent. And then it was just like, we should just do this together.
Sure.
And that statement was made on that phone call in early March. And then it was like, okay, well, are we really going to do this? Are we really going to do this? How would a deal like that work? How would it be structured? How would the compensation be? All these factors, like what would happen to my business? What would happen to his business? Like, what do we operate? What name do we operate under? And then, you know, obviously I was at the height of, you know, the YouTube. You know, I was spending a lot of time on YouTube. I was spending a lot of time on my 6-figure power washing program, which is where I still want to allocate most of my time. And it just more and more became the right decision at the time. You know, obviously, you know, I'm taking my company from where it was as a 2-man operation to merging with another operation that was a 4-man operation, and taking our 2 businesses. His business was doing about $600,000, $650,000. My business was doing about $275,000, which was the last tax return year. We merged them together. We combined all clients, and then me basically as a co-owner with his company. So now we're a co-owner of a much larger company, which is still, we're operating under his name. Yeah. But my company is still alive. It's still there. If you look up Pressure Washing Austin, you will still see my company. It's still there. Like, I'm not working for somebody else. And so when my company gets leads, which it still does, it gets funneled into our, like, a one master account. Right. We use Jill's office. So Jill's office answers all of our calls, and they know who how to answer the phone and whatnot. And so that's kind of how it is right now. And it's been great. It was just the move that I needed to make at the time. Yeah. Maybe if I didn't have the YouTube channel and I didn't have all that as a business, maybe I would be like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to build my own thing. But for me at the time, it was the move to make, and it's been one of the best decisions I've made in the last 2 years.
You know, so I think what a lot of guys might want to know, and especially if they're in that position, right? So either they're in that position where they're doing $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year, or they're thinking about the future of getting to that. I think, you know, this is an example of where, you know, selling a company or selling a business is extremely complicated. It's not as easy as most people might think that it is, because a lot of people think they have a business to sell, when in all actuality, they have a job to sell, and nobody wants to buy a job. So to build a business that is actually a business that can run without you is a very difficult thing to do. And so I think in this case, it's being a merger and acquisition is a really interesting thing, because, again, I'm sure a lot of people out there may want to do something very similar, because, again, building a business to actually sell and have something being acquired from you is a difficult thing. So, you know, merging with another big company could potentially be another out that I had never even really considered as being an out, even for like my pressure washing marketing agency. You know, I've always thought, you know, maybe in the future I might sell my company, but then looking at what it takes to sell a company is extremely difficult. What could potentially be a better option is I find a much larger marketing agency and merge in, right? Yeah. So I think that's an interesting thing. So let me ask you this, and a lot of people watching this might also have the same question, and I'm actually genuinely curious, financially, did it put you in a better position? Like you as the owner of United Exterior Cleaning, and now you as a business partner, do you make more or less? And honestly, what probably matters even more is like, how are you like emotionally? Because as all of us know, running a company is extremely stressful. It can almost be depressing at times. Like, so I'm also curious as to like, did you take on more stress or did you take on less stress and now you're in a better spot? So I think, and that's probably what some people may want to hear too.
Yeah. Well, I guess it depends how you value, what you value in life.
Right.
You value money, because if that's the case, then you probably want to run a really lean, mean operation with you know, being out in the field and really trying to be as profitable as possible, really lean and mean. And if that's the case, that's fine. That's how I operated for 3 years. And then, like I said, I got to the point where I had this other business that was going on that was becoming much larger than my power wash as far as an income thing. It was becoming much larger, and then it just made more sense there. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, it just got to a point after 4 or 5 years that I wanted to be in a little bit of a less stress-free environment.
More experiencing burnout.
Yeah, there's a little bit of burnout that comes. I mean, dude, if you're doing something for the same thing every day for 5 years, I mean, you're gonna feel something,
right?
Whether it's whatever.
I feel it too. I get it in my business too.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of burnout, but you know, also passion for building a business. There's always the passion for building a business, but and this kind of boils down to what I said in the beginning. Like, I am in it for I want to build a big business that I can sell, right? And I think when you look at really like any big company out there, like if you look down YouTube, like, you know, companies, there's a lot of people follow a lot of people like successful entrepreneurs on YouTube and whatnot, and you know, they've sold companies and whatnot. And chances are a lot of these companies that have sold, they didn't really do it alone. They've had some kind of partner. They've brought in people. People have different skill sets, and so, you know, chances are these big companies that got to a big level and sold, there's partnerships, there's equity dissolved, there's different levels of ownership. And the reason why that happened is because everyone brings something to the table. That way they can go further and farther and get to the end result that they want. And so, yeah, like if I want to sell my company for a couple $1 million, like chances are, I mean,
it would have taken you maybe 10 additional years.
10 years, and where I can take someone that has their value and their customers, we can come together, and you offer one thing, I offer one thing. Like in our partnership, my partner, I don't need to say any names or anything, but he's very good at sales, and people and getting estimates closed. Now, I'm good at that too, but what he lacked was operations, and equipment and efficiency and training. And I was always a big equipment efficiency operations guy. He made it to where he had really great help and good people helping him, which obviously helped. But you know, you can't be very good at everything. And my partner is very good at sales and closing and being very stern and being upfront with customers, having difficult conversations, asking good questions. He's a natural born sales guy, so I let him have that. I submitted to that. He's good at that. I'm going to handle the operations.
So what does that mean? Like now, like after you merged, what is because obviously in the day-to-day operations of being an owner operator in a pressure washing, like you're waking up, responding to texts, potentially customer issues, invoicing, going out and doing estimates, doing jobs. What do you do now since you merged with the other company?
Well, now, I mean, it's definitely a lot better of a lifestyle, I guess you could say, or not lifestyle, I'd say
work-life balance,
Yeah, you know, just knowing that every morning I don't need to wake up and go spray bleach. Like, my mom is like, she's like, Austin, you got to find some way to get off the truck. You can't be spraying or holding, she always says, you can't be holding a hose until you're retired. I was like, yeah, that's true, but I'm doing it right now, and I'm making probably more money than you know, or whatever, but like, you know, she wants what's best for me. She knows I can't be out there, you know, doing.
Yeah, right. Nor should most.
Yeah, you know, and I needed to build and scale at some point, and you know this was my route to doing it. And I think whether you want to, you know, go through the trials and tribulations of hiring and firing and making good decisions and getting to the point where you have a whole team, it might take you X amount. That's one way to get there. If you want to automatically put yourself in that position, you can go out and buy an existing company like that.
That's another
that already has something like that, and then you just assume everything like that. Or like you said earlier, you know, you can merge with someone, but there's something to be said there because that's not always a good decision too. Because I get a lot of comments saying, Austin, like when I first put out my merger video that I was merging, a lot of the comments like, Austin, you should watch out. It's not a good idea. You don't know what can happen. What if this happens? What if that happens? And that's true. Like when you merge with another company, it's almost like a marriage or a relationship. And you have a business relationship with somebody, and there are going to be differences and whatnot. But what you hopefully try to do, and like what I've done with my partners, I've known them for 4 years, and we've kind of gotten at each other. We know we get, it's almost kind of a yin and a yang, and we didn't just jump into a relationship together. Like something we kind of danced around for the last couple of years, kind of jokingly, but. it just got to a point where I was like, this actually might work,
So you say, yeah, I mean, that makes total sense. So do you, are you still in the field spraying bleach? So it sounds like your business partner does sales and estimates and you're not spraying. So what is it more or less that you'll do on, let's say tomorrow, if you were working, what is it?
Yeah, so a typical day, so we have our in the summers, we run 2 trucks. For the most part, most of the year, we run 2 trucks.
Okay.
Right now, it's September. We're just coming off of the summer. So we're in a kind of a little slower period. So we moved to 1 truck just because that we can stay a bit more profitable. So we're running 1 truck, 3 guys, and they're working Monday through Friday, probably 3 to 4 jobs a day. That's what we're running right now.
Okay.
And we're still doing pretty good numbers.
So you guys don't do weekends?
No, we don't.
Even your crew, your techs?
No, they don't work weekends.
Okay.
Unless there's a big job, big opportunity, last minute opportunity.
Sure.
And it's a lot of money because they get paid by performance, so they'll be motivated to go out there and work. But we'll still ask them if they want to.
Yeah.
If they don't, then we're not going to. Simple as that. But no, I mean, usually every morning I wake up, 6:30, 7 o'clock, and the guys get there at the shop at 7:30. Half the time I'm there, either checking out the equipment, debriefing the guys on the jobs today. They'll go out and leave, and I kind of come back to the house, and I'm working on just stuff on the computer. If there's anything that goes wrong in the field, equipment, they're out of towels, something went wrong, there's something that busted, someone needs to go to the
potentially angry.
Yeah, angry customer. Yeah, so just to answer your question, the deviation of labor, my partner handles everything from the inbound lead up until the person getting on the schedule. So that's the whole sales process and everything that goes on with that. I am from the point from we get there that day till the invoice gets paid. Everything. So if there's something going wrong on the job and we sprayed bleach and the house turns colors, or someone gets killed,
that's on you.
I'm there.
Yeah, right.
Because ultimately that's my responsibility. I'm there trying to figure out what is my partner getting involved in that for? He's like, well, I don't know how you guys. I mean, he knows how we do the process. Make that clear. But that is not his responsibility.
Right.
We're doing 3 to 4 estimates a day in a busy time or even more, and he's working on inbound and all that stuff. And so, yeah, I'm going to go there. I tell the customer, hey, look, I know you met my partner earlier. He's the co-owner of the company. I handle most of the operations. Let's figure out what happened here. And then I work to a solution. That's happened a handful of times,
How many, I guess, how many times a week do you think you guys, at the level that you guys operate at, do you guys run into actual issues where, discoloration of garages, rose bushes burning? How many times do you actually get involved during a customer issue? Does that happen?
Well, there's 2 different kinds of issues. There's an issue where we damage something, like a bush or a tree gets withered or a house gets discolored, and then there's just we missed something.
Oh,
I'd much rather have that we missed something,
sure.
Like a window didn't clean, because then it's just hey guys, after your next job, go there and touch that up.
Yeah.
I would say, and because of the scale, yeah, I mean, if we're doing 3 to 4 or 5 jobs a day, that's 20 to 25 jobs a week. There's going to be one little minute thing. And it's not just even missing something. Sometimes it just might be a customer that's just extra particular. This little tiny thing on a window, you guys missed it. All right.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not worth getting a bad review for, because you never know who we're really dealing with and what people could do online and whatnot. So I'd say maybe once a week we're dealing with something that was missed.
Yeah.
And, once every couple of weeks there's something that we...
discolored or died or something.
I don't know about discolored, because that's a big issue. But I would say maybe, the guys bent a window screen, or, something was cracked, or, something like that. I mean, you got furniture you're moving and dealing with. Sometimes when you're moving furniture, that could break or whatever. And I think anyone who doesn't admit that if you're making videos, if you watch people that are doing videos online and they don't admit or tell you guys that there are things that happen, I think they're blowing smoke.
Yeah.
Because at this kind of level, you're dealing with human beings, employees, right? And we're paying really well, but, even when I was doing it, sometimes I messed up. And that's okay. Own up to it, move past it. And first off, you need to own up to it. I don't think, you gotta, and I think that speaks miles too, because if you own up to what you did, and the customer can see that you're open and honest, and, how can we move past this? How can we come to a resolution? They're not going to be upset.
So, yeah, I that totally makes sense. So now that you guys have been merged for 6 months or so. Mm-hmm. Do you still feel like, if in hindsight, was it still the best decision for you and where you wanted to go?
Yeah, because ultimately, I want to put together a plan on how, not that I can get. It's interesting kind of form and talk about. my ultimate goal is in the next 3 to 5 years, I want to be doing something a bit bigger and something a bit different. And and because I'm so passionate about YouTube, I want to reach a large audience of people that are not just power washing. I'm interested in the 22-year-old like I was when I was 22, and my friends were graduating college and they were surpassing me in every form of life. And I'm trying to figure out how do I get to where they're at. Like, I want to talk to that dude. Or like the 38 or 42-year-old guy that I talk to every now and then who has a family who's trying to figure out their thing, and give them maybe an idea like, hey, look, maybe this can work with you. I did it here, and let me show you how maybe you can learn from what I did.
So that's your goal.
That's my goal. Is like, I want to try and I want to help the people that are really younger people.
Yeah, sure.
Because dude, like, I remember when I was like 21 or 20, and I was like, my friends are going to college. I know I'm not going, and I'm not going right now, and I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Right.
And there was always this stigma, like, Austin didn't go to college. I don't know. We'll just see what happens.
Right.
And I'm like, but like, and then I made it happen, right? So I just can't imagine how many young people are out there right now that know college, or even they're in high school and they know college isn't for them, and they're just counting down the days until
they start the rat race.
Yeah, like what legitimately what's gonna happen? And I don't think there's enough education out there because we're so college and school focused that I think we're actually kind of building out of that phase now, because back when I was in school, it was like, dude, if you don't go to college, but now it's like it's a lot more realized now that you do not need to go to college.
Yeah.
So. But that being said, there's a lot that needs to be said about the service business, because these are businesses that you can start for little to nothing, and get to a point where you're doing really well. So that's why I want to help people, or at least kind of show how you can do some of these things and have some moderate level of success.
So you do think that was a good decision, because it'll put you in a better place for more alignment with what your long-term goal is?
Yeah. And so that it just aligned with what now, because it really kind of revolves around the channel and what I'm really passionate about with the YouTube channel. Because I have the channel, that's what I really wanted to dive a lot more of my time into. So because I had that, that's what kind of made the decision a bit easier. I think if I didn't have all this YouTube passion, making videos and helping people, and it was just owner-operator, I would have been a lot more intrigued to just build my own thing.
Just to see like where,
Yeah. But even then, it's just like I talked about earlier, you can buy your way into owning a big company. That way you surpass the whole time it takes to get there, or you merge with someone, or you figure out how to do it yourself. There's several ways to skin a cat. And that was the opportunity that kind of, honestly, I felt like God kind of just put her right there. And like, it was like, hey, look, we can do this. And that's like, it ended up being the right thing for me.
So do you think like you and your business partner are aligned on the same goal of what's next for you is build this more into a more appealing, sellable business asset that both of you can agree to sell to potentially a bigger company, and then you can dive more, and each of you diving into more of your passion?
Yeah.
Is that the goal?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So ultimately we want to try and get to, ultimately, we would love to get to however much revenue as we can.
Right.
Like the idea here is get to a $3 to $4 million range, and then explore options from that point.
Yeah.
Like I said, in another video, I went down to Dallas and I looked at another company. The only reason I was doing that was because maybe we can build multiple locations at the same time,
make it more appealing.
Yeah, Austin, Dallas, and they're profitable, and we have this big brand out there that that is transcending to multiple cities, and they know the Activate brand. Dallas didn't really work out. They didn't really accept our offer, but that's fine. It wasn't in the cards, but that doesn't mean we can't do that again.
Right.
I think everything is viable if for the right price, or everything has a price tag on it. And so that's the idea there.
I think that's a good way to do that, right? Is like, as business owners watching this, right, you have lots of other options, right? And the one common one is just keep going, keep grinding, keep growing your revenue year over year over year over year, and maybe you just do that forever. Or maybe you merge with another company. You could merge with a smaller company, right? You don't have to, like in your case, you merge with a bigger company. For some of you guys who might be doing $250,000, $300,000 a year, there could be a few guys doing $60,000, $70,000 a year in your market, and maybe it makes sense to merge with them, right? Like get you off the truck. So I'm sure you might want building it a more sellable asset. There's a lot of angles that you can approach the next phases of your business once you start getting into the $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year range. But yeah, no, I think it's really interesting. And like I said, I talk to, I don't know, man, I probably take 8 to 10 pressure washing, marketing, sales related calls a day, and at least one of them they know about you, or like the relationship that we've had of us doing your marketing. They're always asking about it. And that's why I was like, dude, like I think there's probably a really big part of your audience that's really inquisitive as to not only why you did it, but like how does it actually work, things for them to consider, and that sort of thing, what I mean?
Well, I think what it really says is like, my YouTube channel is, not a perfect way to go out there and build something to, it really, what it is it's a video log of my life, and stuff. And, those are the decisions I make. And, I think that's why a lot of people watch my content and they gravitate and they comment how much I like the content, because it's very genuine.
Yeah.
They can see every single stage. And at a stage 2 years ago when I was filming, the decisions I made then was based on where my life was then, where I lived, and what the truck I had, and what I could afford and whatnot. And the decisions I've made now is based on my circumstances now. I have this other business, I have other things going on, and it's not really in my best interest to be out in the truck every single day. Now, could I have hired people and played that whole game of hiring and firing and finding the right person and having one guy for a couple of years, that guy leaving for some reason, and then going on another guy, getting back on the truck and doing all this crap that it takes to get to a multiple truck business? Yeah, but that would be a couple of years from now.
Yeah.
Because I don't anticipate it working perfectly.
And there's nothing wrong with that too. Like, like some guys, that's what their goal is. Like, I want to have 5 trucks. I want to, have an operational manager in the field, and, sales guys. And there's like nothing wrong with doing that. It's just different strokes for different folks. Absolutely. I think that's the important thing to distinguish.
Yeah. So if you're watching this video and you're like trying to figure out like what happened with Austin, just know, like, I'm a owner in this company. I don't wake up and take orders from anyone. If there's a decision that needs to be made, me and my partner go at it and we figure out we are not two opposite people. We're combative on everything. We know when we made this decision that if there's a decision to be made on the table, regardless of separate opinions, the way to find the answer is what's going to be best for the company in the next 2 or 3 years as far as value. What's if we want to sell this, what decision is going to lead us to be more valuable?
Yeah.
And so if that's our North Star right there, we know what the right answer is. And so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's interesting too, because I look at it from a perspective of like our relationship, like we're technically business partners. I'm a minority partner with you and another business venture with Six Figure Pressure Washing, but I don't look at it as like I'm your employee. Like every decision, everything we do is very much like we bounce ideas off of each other and we do certain things for certain reasons. And
there's plenty of times where you tell me stuff and I say, yeah, that's the way to go. And just like with my partner and I can be a minority partner, which I am to some degree, and he submits to me on stuff because like we're talking about something that I know about, and there's a trust thing. We have 50-50, even though we're not 50-50 partners, we have 50-50 guidance and whatnot.
Well, that's interesting, because I want to actually talk about that, because I think there's something to be said about the more tenured entrepreneurial mindset that we all have when we get to a certain degree in business, where you don't want to have paralysis analysis, which is where you're all hung up on decisions, right? Which is why, like, especially for our business venture together, you might say, hey, like, I want to do this thing, and I may not even agree with it, but I'm like, cool, let's just do it.
Yeah.
Like, let's do it. And you'll do the same. It's, you get to a point where you just make a lot of decisions very quickly, and you just learn from the ones that fail. And I think that's why, like, once you get to bigger businesses and business partnerships, even if you're minority or not minority, it doesn't really matter from a decision perspective of like taking orders, because typically if you're a business partner, it's very rare that the majority business partner will put their foot down and go, that's not how we're going. Like that just doesn't happen like that.
There's something that I learned a while back, and it was Grant Cardone said it, and there's a lot of opinions about Grant Cardone. I like him and I don't like him.
I like him and I don't like him too.
Yeah. But one thing that was super cool that he said was, if you're going to make decisions, do it quickly.
Absolutely.
And because I think we're grown up with this whole thing, which is like, hey, if there's a big decision on the table, really think about it and really sleep on it and really kick the can around and really think of it as a big decision. And in some areas, yes, it is. But like what he was telling me is like, look, like, make decisions and make them quick. If it's the wrong decision, great.
Yep.
Fix it, recover, get back on the horse. And it's just like, if I make a decision on something, and it can be a big decision and it doesn't work out, and great, it's in the past. I'm back. Like I've already moved on for that. Like, we're gonna move on. And I guess if a large amount of money is involved, then that can be something a bit different, obviously. But mostly, It's like, dude, like make a decision, make it quick. If it's the wrong decision, move past it. If it's a good one, you just made it quick and you save yourself all that time and you're on to better things. And so I don't know. I think there's value in that. And obviously when we're talking about merging, that's not a quick decision, but for me at the time, that's the topic of this video. It was just the right decision.
Jeff Bezos talks about that a lot, about how he attributes a lot of his success for Amazon to be in lots of micro, quick decisions, even though the impact one way or the other could be big. And like, I have a bias in this when I talk about pressure washing marketing, but guys will call me and they'll be like, Sean, I do $180,000 a year and I need to do different marketing and I want to hire you guys. And we're like, they're like, how much is it? I'm like, it's like $2 to $3 grand a month. And they're like, well, I got this. How does this work? And they're so inquisitive about the questions. I'm like, just either don't or do it or don't, right? Like, and obviously I have a bias to say that, but at the same time, like, you can't be bogged down. Like, hire us, and if you want to fire us 3 months later, then do it again. Like, you don't want to, we don't need to set up 3 phone calls and dive in and to all these analytics and look at page speeds and Google ad landing pages and all this stuff. Like, as a tenured entrepreneur, you're working with people that you are trusting and hoping that you're making the right decision, but understanding that if it isn't the right decision, cool, I learned as that was a failure, and now I know what to not do in the future. And by making all of these quick decisions, you learn a tremendous amount, which advances you in your entrepreneurial journey. That's how I view it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that just the learning curve. That's the other thing I didn't hit on. If you make a bad decision, you recover from it, but you learn it again. Now the opportunity for you to make that other bad decision is not going to happen again, because obviously you learned from the previous one.
You can take that even with like pricing for pressure washing. Like guys will write paragraphs of content in groups. Should I charge $400 for this house wash, or should I charge $600? It's like, just charge $400 or charge $600. So if you charge $600 and they say no, well, the next time that might be seen as a failure. Charge $400, see what happens. Like, don't get so bogged down. And like, I get this even too, man. Like with guys, like they're like, hey Sean, I'm thinking about hiring you guys. I do $150,000 a year, but I want to be really involved with the SEO and like doing the SEO. I'm like, why? Why do you want to do that? Like your time is better spent doing. Like, I tell the analogy I use for this is business taxes, right? I would like to think that I run a pretty successful business. I don't have time to go and focus on my business taxes. I hired an accountant for that, right? I don't want to know how it's done. You said that we had a conversation recently about when you get so far along in your business that you don't want to know how the sausage is made. You just want the sausage, right? And if you analyze that, right? Like if you're analyzing that, like what's in it, how's it work? Like you're taking time away from other valuable parts of your business.
And I think that's kind of how my merger works so well. And that's how I think a lot of these big successful companies get very, very big. Because when you're very, very small, you're doing everything, a lot of which you might not be the best at, but you have to, because that's for the stage that you're in. And then, as we get bigger, you bring in people that are good at stuff. So like if I'm good at operations, I'm sick in operations, inbound calls, I'm good at that, but I have someone else that's on par or better than me at that. Yeah, that's his realm. And
now you can focus on blowing that part of the business up while
like how do we get more efficient? How does our training get better? I can spend more time in the field instead of taking calls and doing all this invoicing and estimating and scheduling and whatnot. I'm focused on how do
and washing.
Yeah, and washing. How do our guys get better? And so I'm spending 100% of my time, if I am in the field, hey guys, like let's start there and get our hoses there, and then we'll end here, and like this is going to make this go quicker, and that's what I'm focused on. And so now my partner doesn't need to do this because he
can drive more revenue as a result, because now his only focus is closing jobs.
And then as companies get bigger, I can only imagine. Obviously, I'm not there yet, but I'm seeing these these big companies that have had major sale events at the $20, $30, $50 million, not in service, but all kinds of companies. They bring in people. And you just have to imagine they have people that come in that are very, very good at one particular aspect of it. They get a percentage or a portion of the business, and that is their realm.
I've done that in my personal business. Even at the Social Media Pros, I have someone who came on as an equity partner, a minority equity partner, and they brought tremendous amounts of value, right? And I don't look at them as an employee; they're a business partner. Like we make decisions together. So I wholeheartedly think in some cases it's a good idea, but. I know a lot of your audience is like just thinking about getting into pressure washing or home service, or they've been in it and they're not yet full time. Like they're all at that point, and so they probably saw this and maybe didn't understand the full gravity of why you did it. Was it successful? And so like giving that insight is probably really valuable for.
Well, I mean, I made a lot of videos, and I'm doing my 370th video, like 320 of which is me out in the field and whatnot. And maybe it might suck for them because maybe I'm not out there doing the whole, long song and dance about being out there and whatnot. But, ultimately it's not just the channel, like it's my life. And so like you're watching my business and whatnot, but you're also watching like decisions I make as a young man, as a, almost 30 years old and stuff. And
it's a roadmap.
It is a roadmap. And I think that's what makes it cool is because like you can watch not just the progression of my business, but like a progression in a young man and what kind of decisions that he makes and whatnot. And, if you guys have kind of animosity towards me not being in the field, then, like, sorry, hopefully I was able to give you a bit of value on some end of my YouTube journey. And you took that. And if you took any kind of value from that, then that's all I care about. But, I think everyone's life is different. And I'm still passionate about the power washing business. My end goal is still to get to a big level, which there's always new levels. You get to the end of the goalpost, and then the goalpost just gets moved farther.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so hopefully after this is all done, I can still make videos, and so, that's the plan.
Yeah, well, cool, man. That was really insightful, and I think this is an interesting take on the style of content that you typically do, because typically a lot of your stuff is like vlog style, right? So I think this is a more broken down version where people can kind of get to see that other side of your decision making, as opposed to just like you said, like being out in the field and doing the song and dance. It's pretty different. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, guys, I super appreciate you guys tuning into this video all the way from Tampa, Florida. Sean, I appreciate you being in, and maybe we'll meet up in a couple months and we'll do another one of these videos. But hey, if you guys got any kind of value from this video, you guys got any kind of entertainment, drop a comment down below. We'd love to see what you guys want to hear, what you guys want to see next. If you guys got any kind of entertainment, do hit the like button. I'd love to have you guys subscribe. That would really help me out. And other than that, guys, peace out, and thanks a lot for showing up.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, man.
Peace, guys.